little boy lost his life as a direct result of domestic violence. I'll have that report for you and other news on tomorrow's program. We do, however, have a full show for you tonight. We will speak with, still to my knowledge, the only person from McGoffin County to ever run the Boston Marathon. A great interview and a great story about some really serious challenges that had to be overcome for a local man to meet his dream. We'll have that in just a few seconds. That will be our first story, and we'll be following that up with our other headline tonight, and that will be coverage of the Supreme Court hearing in Kentucky earlier today in regards to the 2014 McGoffin County Judge Executive's race. Weather-wise, pretty much a stationary cold front and a passing upper-level disturbance. That's what's giving us a chance of some showers and a few thunderstorms, the majority and bulk of which have been to our north today as far as the viewing area is concerned. But we're not out of the woods, and we'll talk more about that in just a few moments and how low pressure is pushing in a cold front tomorrow and how we could still see some severe weather, some severe thunderstorms at least tonight and into your Thursday. Friday is still the keeper of the entire forecast period, and then the bumps work their way into the forecast just in time for the weekend. Hoping for a nice day for all those going to prom on Saturday. I'll tell you more in just a few moments. In fact, I'm going to pause only for a brief message or two, and we'll pick it up with the 2016 Boston Marathon as seen through the eyes of a man from McGoffin County in just a moment. For high-speed internet starting at 15 meg for all of your gaming, movie, home, and business solutions, or to watch TV, including your favorite local channels without a contract with hundreds of channels and digital and HD quality, and to stay connected 24/7 with friends and family, a direct line to 911, or to give your business the link it needs, choose telephone service you know is always there. Just click on their link on this site to find out how affordable the latest technology in communications can be. Foothills Communications. In talking with the only person from McGoffin County that I, he, or anyone else that I have spoke with, let me say that, are aware of that's ever run the Boston Marathon, I learned after sitting down with Michael Holbrook over the course of the weekend just how much of a personal battle this was for him on so many levels. To work, to achieve a dream, and to overcome health issues just to get there. The health issues that actually got him into running several years ago at the age of 48, and the health issues that nearly kept him from running the Boston and achieving his goals and aspirations. But to his credit, he never, not even for an instant, gave up. As his wife Bonnie says, the road to Boston is an individual struggle for all racers who get the privilege of running it. But for Michael, it began because of a family risk of heart disease, and he decided to start running and pick up the hobby then. At first, the only goal he had was making a lap around the Ramey Park without stopping, but as his love for running grew, he began to compete in various races. It started with our own second Sunday 5K here in Sayersville, and after that, he started to get involved with Faith Runners, where Jamison Salyer encouraged him to run his first marathon in 2009. And since that time, he's been running with a goal of someday running the Boston Marathon. He attempted to qualify several times and on several occasions fell just short of the time he needed until last year.
In 2014, me and my friend Jerry Sloan, we really trained hard. Run from Paintsville to Sayersville 4 times. We just got good shape and went down there and got a little over 10 minutes below my qualifying time. So I was then I had to be accepted in September of 2015. I was accepted to run the marathon, and then 2016 I finally got to do it. But I didn't think I was going to be able to count my leg, but finally got to exercise up.
When did you really know that you were going to be able to?
I didn't really know until I got there.
Really?
I ran 18 miles, but I had to walk a lot of it. I didn't know where I could run 26 or not, but I was going to try it. I was going to walk if I had to, but I had to. I ran it and got the medal. I didn't know I was so close to getting out of time. Another 9 minutes and I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have got the medal.
Michael's qualifying time was well under the 4-hour mark, and it seemed everything was going smoothly and perfect. But just a few months after his qualifying run, he started to get a limp. Thought it was just related to an old injury, but he kept running and kept competing, even ran the Horse Capital Marathon in Lexington in May of last year. But as his limp became more pronounced, his finishing times became slower,
and he was actually forced soon thereafter to stop running altogether and seek medical advice. With a 6-hour time limit on the race, to get the medal, you can finish at your own pace, but if you want the medal, you have to finish in under 6 hours. He crossed the finish line at 5 hours, 51 minutes, and 44 seconds, well off his previous mark for running a marathon.
Oh, it was rough. I started out qualifying, doing good. I got sick, started going downhill, started limping, and I run a race in Arlington, Ohio, and a guy up there is a physical therapist seen me limp. He said, "Let me see if I can help you." And he got me in with Rick O'Brien, another physical therapist, and they worked with me, but I still kept going downhill. And I ran races up to half marathon at Country Music Half Marathon, and fell over there during a race. But I got up and finished it. And it was a struggle, I'll have to say. And through the January, I couldn't run at all. Couldn't walk on a treadmill or nothing. And after that, we went to different doctors to try to figure out what was the matter with me. Nobody could. We even went to Cleveland Clinic, and they couldn't figure out what it was. They're thinking it's a neurological problem, but they're not really sure. It takes 3 years to determine whether it is or not. And but couldn't walk, I couldn't run on a treadmill, I couldn't run outside. And then I seen one of the doctors in office. I seen my foot, one of the muscles wasn't working right, and I got down and started exercising it. Started exercising, and finally got strength back in it, and it started running again. But I fell a lot.
Really?
I scratched my glasses. I fell on the blacktop. It was rough, but I get up and run on.
Thereafter, it was hours of examinations and countless MRIs, and Mike being told that by all indications he had a motor neuron disease. The doctor said his history of running had undoubtedly kept the disease from progressing any faster, and he also said he could see no way that Mike would ever run the Boston or any other marathon again. Upon returning home, Michael started studying on how to get stronger. He became a student of his own body. He literally would do exercises to develop the muscles that he had to have to run. He went to the gym. He started doing strength building exercises as well as continuing his running schedule, and he slowly began to be able to run longer distances without falling quite so much. Until finally, on his last long run before the Boston, he was able to get back up to 18 miles, mostly running, sometimes walking, and for better or worse, he had done all that he could do. And the next stop, indeed, would be the 120th running of the world's most prestigious foot race.
So last Monday, with 30,000 other runners crossing the start line, he began the most prestigious foot race in the world, the Super Bowl of running, hoping that he'd have a chance to finish if he could just keep from falling too many times. Alongside the elite runners from around the world, there were some in wheelchairs, some blind with a guide, some with prosthetic limbs, survivors of the Boston Marathon bombing. He was joined by runners from every United state and from 96 countries around the world, everyone with their own dreams and their own goals and their own motives for being there. Mike's, at this point, to do what doctors had told him was not possible, to finish the Boston Marathon under the 6-hour time limit and bring home the medal and a dream.
Once you start running, people everywhere cheering you on, wanting you to help you, reaching you oranges or water or paper towels, Vaseline, anything you can think of. They're there willing to help, and they cheer just about the whole way. There's a place or two, like it'd be a hill or something, they couldn't get there. But everywhere they could get, there were people. And I've never run a race like that before in my life. And the people yelling, encouraging to go on. No doubt I would have walked more if it hadn't been for them encouraging me. And they really push you. It was overwhelming, I tell you, and it weighs on you, like you said. You want to do your best at the Boston. It's just something about it that pushes you.
Mike says only 0.5% of all Americans ever run a marathon, and only 10% of those get into the Boston. This year, for example, 30,000 were accepted, another 4,500 qualified but didn't get to run. And some attempt to qualify or get in all their lives and never make it. And while running the Boston And after returning home, Mike says he became a bit overwhelmed with all of the support. Jerica Conley's grade school class, for example, sent him cards of thanks and inspiration. And he soon realized that his accomplishment felt as much for everyone who supported and congratulated him as it did for himself. And I think he's right.
Yeah, I had no idea that they were watching me run the race, staying with me. That was overwhelming to hear that. Everything was just amazing, the support we've had in this county. And again, I'd like to thank Tanya Ward for having the second Sunday race. That's my first race, and I got hooked on it then. Then I got into running longer, and Faith Runners, they started running half marathon and a full marathon, and I love it. It was just something that relaxing and enjoyed doing.
And when I asked Mike what's next from here, he said, I'm going to keep on running. He says he's going to continue to get healthy and to be able to keep on running. He doubts that he'll ever qualify for the Boston again. I would not be a bit surprised to see him trying again next year. Nevertheless, we want to thank him and Bonnie for all the support that they have given us with this story, the information that they have allowed us to share, and for giving us such an inspirational story. Thank you very much, and thank you guys for watching the show as often as you do. I'll be right back. More headlines in just a moment. The 2014 McGoffin County Judge Executives race technically is still ongoing. Along the way, it has made stops in local circuit court, the Kentucky Court of Appeals, and as of today, the Kentucky Supreme Court, the highest court of law in the state of Kentucky. There's only one other stop hereafter. Will it make it that far? Well, the decision is yet to be known. However, there is one being considered after oral arguments were presented to the Kentucky Supreme Court starting early this morning. The long, drawn-out battle over who is the rightful judge executive of McGoffin County marched one step closer to a resolution today when attorneys for both sides presented oral arguments before the Kentucky Supreme Court in Frankfort. As attorneys for Judge Charles Hardin, the McGoffin County Election Board, and John Montgomery presented their respective cases, some of the judges would occasionally interrupt with questions they felt pertinent to the discussion. One judge questioning the claims of no evidence as to wrongdoing.
That any wrong conduct was done by or at the direction of Dr. Hardin.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And assuming that to be true, that there was nothing done by or at the direction of Dr. Hardin, does the statute, though, still say if the election, and these are the words of the statute, but if the election is so permeated with fraud or error or whatever, that you can't fairly determine that the purported winner really fairly won the election, then the court can set that election aside. Does that statute require that the proof be that the misconduct occur at the direction of one of the candidates?
Well, Your Honor, the statute does not require it, but here's a very important point on this, and this is what I think is crucial. We go back again to the absence of evidence. As Your Honor indicated, it has to be pervasive fraud, corruption, that. There's none of that here.
Okay.
Does not exist.
And I get that point, but I just wanted to at least eliminate in my mind the idea that the pervasive irregularities or misconduct had to be at the direction of one of the candidates.
That was attorney Bud Adams representing Dr. Charles Hardin, McGoffin County Judge Executive. Next to address the Supreme Court was local attorney Gordon Long representing candidate John Montgomery.
Or alleged improper influence, was any of that directed to absentee voters?
Well, the proof.
Or were they all, like these four gentlemen that are mentioned?
No.
They all voted in person.
They voted and opposed. The problem with the absentee ballots in this case is there has to be substantial compliance with those laws. If there's not, the judge has every right under the statute, under the current case law, to declare the election void.
But what I'm just trying to clarify is that you talk about these percentages and how the machine vote is not mirrored in the absentee ballot vote. But when you're looking at the absentee ballots, as I understood from the briefs, your primary complaint is about how they were handled in the county.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to clarify that.
That's correct, ma'am. There was not substantial compliance with the absentee ballot voting laws. And if you Yes,
Let me just
ma'am.
stop you there because I want to talk about that. It seems Mr. Adams just argued to the Court of Indigo that there was substantial compliance because I pointed out that 5 or 6 different times in the statute the word shall appears in reference to the counting of absentee ballots. So it seems like we have a couple of different ideas what substantial compliance might be.
Yes, ma'am. The statute is very clear how these ballots have to be counted. They're to be taken out one at a time and read out loud. That was not done. The county clerk, the chairman of the Board of Elections, who happens to be our county clerk, was supposed to compare the signatures on the ballots with the other signatures. She did not do that. They were placed all out on the big table, and the election officers did that job. That's a total dereliction of her duties. It is a total violation of the statute. I think that instead of looking at this as a decision that disenfranchised the people of McGoffin County, I think it's a decision that gave them the franchise. They got disenfranchised for all the stuff that happened in this election. We now have a hope, if you allow this judgment to stand, of an honest and fair election, where the county won't be out grabbing driveways for people, where the county clerk and the Board of Election Officers and the precinct officers just might obey the election laws. The people of McGoffin County are entitled to no less. They're guaranteed that by the Constitution. That's all that we're asking for. That's all that Mr. Montgomery wants. That is an honest and fair election.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, sir.
Next to address the panel, Jason Neems, the attorney representing the McGoffin County Board of Elections.
Elections, I know that you don't pick challengers who are wallflowers. You pick challengers because they're bulldogs. Nothing's going to happen on that person's watch. Everybody was alert. They were looking for it, didn't find it. Darlena Workman was chosen because she's tough. Darlena went there looking for problems. Didn't find one. I said, Darlena, should any vote be thrown out? Not one. This is the Republican, big, strong supporter of John Montgomery, who was sent there to make sure it didn't happen on our watch, or her watch. Not this time. Nothing happened. So in-house absentee voting, much ado about nothing. There's nothing there. And to the extent that they think there was there, Larry Shepard helped 4 voters, by the way. And it was about from me to where my opposing counsel is. So everyone could have seen what was going on. Nothing untoward there.
Was the county clerk deposed?
The county clerk took the stand. She was deposed and she was on the stand. Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor. The counting of the ballots, if I could turn there. The counting of the ballots, Mr. Williams was in there again, as well as all the members of the Board of Elections. Two members of the staff of the county clerk, and then 2 representatives of a candidate, and 1 candidate himself were in there. Small room, Mr. Adams said the table was about right, wide open, and there was no way that anything went wrong in there. Did they violate the law with regard to counting them one by one? Yes. But what was the effect? Justin Williams, the stalwart Republican, he said the reason they did it, that they didn't vote one by one, but they spread them out, was because they needed to get done by 6. By the way, they started at 10 and ended just before 6. They needed to get done by 6 because the cases teach us one thing about counting absentee ballots. They teach us that you better have it done by 6 because 6 polls close. And if you're down by 23 votes, you know you need 24. It's pregnant with mischief. And so Justin said, we're going to get done by 6. I don't want any allegations of that. The other reason they did it the way they did it is because he didn't want any kind of allegation that Renee Shepard was engaging in misconduct. So he thought it was better for everyone to get involved, which is what they did. Did it comply with the statute? It was a technical noncompliance. But it actually infused more integrity into the process. More integrity into the process. Jarbo versus Smith is a case that's pretty close to this. I mentioned that earlier. They had the ballots on the table, and the court said, yes, it's a violation, but it substantially complies. And so, again, not much ado about nothing.
Following arguments, we learned that it was speculated that a ruling from the court could take several months. Also, following the oral arguments, we had interviews with Jim Deckard representing Judge Executive Hardin, John Montgomery, and Gordon Long representing Montgomery. And for sake of time management, we'll bring you those interviews and their thoughts on the proceedings on tomorrow's program. Now going on over to your McGoffin Farm Bureau-sponsored community calendar birthday announcements, with the first going out to Melanie Combs with a whole lot of love from a whole lot of family and friends on her special day, on her B-Day. Happy birthday, Melanie Combs. And we've got birthday wishes tonight also going out to a lady who I know is watching, because I'm so thankful and blessed to have her there nearly every night. Ruth Blair, happy 83rd to you. Thank you so much for being an avid viewer of the show. Can't tell you how much it means to us, and can't tell you how much your friends and family and everyone else wanted me to wish you a very happy birthday. Happy 83rd, Ruth Blair. A reminder about next week's Community Health Fair at the Syersville Nursing and Rehabilitation Center next Tuesday, 10 till 2. They're hosting their annual health fair at 15 different health booths, a variety of free services, the door prize drawing, and as I mentioned yesterday, the free cheesecake bar. If you have any questions, call 349-6181. And backing it up just a bit, a reminder about the big square dance at District 3 Fire Department this Friday starting at 7:30 with the Joseph Family Band and Wendell Hoskins and hopefully you. They always have a big crowd, a big time, and some great food for a square dance at District 3 this Friday. Local Doppler radar and current observations would be a bit off at this point because my time is off by a few hours. But we are around 70 degrees and falling after some showers that have rolled through. We'll see 59 degrees. We'll see mostly cloudy skies as well. Keep your eye on the weather. There is still a chance of some showers and possibly a few thunderstorms as well, continuing with a low of 59 tonight. On to your Thursday, we will see scattered showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy skies, and about 79 tomorrow. And a wind out of the southwest, maybe 5 to 8 or so. The chance of showers tomorrow at 50. It wanes 30% by tomorrow night. By Friday, it's all gone, leaving us with mostly sunny skies, 75, a little fog to start off the day, but otherwise mostly sunny and just a beautiful, beautiful day. Actually, look more for the fog into Friday night and into your Saturday morning. Nevertheless, 75, mostly sunny. Friday is indeed going to be a nice one, and kind of the nice one in the middle of all the other days forecast-wise, because we'll have another system working its way into town just in time for the weekend. And Saturday, prom day for a lot of folks, a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms after 2. That does increase to 50% during the overnight, evening and overnight hours. We'll know more as it gets a little bit closer. 73 and 55 on your Sunday. Still can't shake the showers and storms, and in fact, they'll be quite likely on your Sunday, and there'll even be a good chance of them and a lot of clouds on Monday with daytime highs into the low 70s. Might even see the upper 60s work their way back into the forecast later on in the week. And that is a wrap for this Wednesday. One more time, this show was recorded earlier in an effort to bring you a story for tomorrow night's program that began at 5. We'll have that and other news that you'll only see with me, so be sure and join us then. Good night for now, and thanks for watching.